Hello everyone, I am Tarun Kotagiri from KGR set, and here is the final output of the project involving Unit 3 and Unit 4. The problem statement I chose involves indoor vertical farming. With the ever increase in population, the need for cultivation land increases, but the best alternative for which is vertical farming. But then again, it's not quite easy for plants to grow in such indoor environments. Some of the problems include imbalanced temperature and humidity, improper water levels, soil moisture levels, and not so good sunlight, as well as unoptimized monitoring system. The solutions I improvised are to control the temperature and humidity. We'll be using DHT11 sensor to monitor the temperature, and to control it, we'll be using cooling foggers. For improper water level, we'll be using water depth sensor to monitor the water level, and we use a 24 volts DC pump along with two solenoid valves to control the water level in berths accordingly. Because vertical farming involves so many berths will be using solenoid valves in each level to control the water level, and the same goes with soil moisture sensor. And the next thing, to optimize the monitoring system, we doesn't really need to run the monitoring system all the time, because there needs to be humans inside the farm to monitor the system. So we'll be activating this monitoring system only when there is someone inside the farm. Well, to see if someone is inside the farm or not, we'll be using two PIR sensors at the entrance. If PIR 1 activates first and then PIR 2, then it means a person walked in. So only at that time the monitoring system is actuated. And if PIR 2 activates first and then PIR 1, then it means the person just left. In that time, all the monitoring systems shut off, managing efficient power supply. Let's go for the implementation of the real thing. I am using an ESP32 because ESP8266 had only one analog pin, and here quite some sensors were using analog pins, like the water level sensor and LDR module, and soil moisture sensor. Three of them use analog pins, so I had to use ESP32 for that. Apart from that, all I'm doing is just taking the reading the values from the sensor and pushing them to OM2M. Let's dive into it. Here's what we'll be doing in a nutshell. We'll be collecting the sensor data using ESP32 and sending it off to this node MCU right here using OM2M architecture. Here's the OM2M architecture. Inside INMCSC base, we have an application entity called Smart Indoor Farm, which contains a data container, which in turn contains three more containers to hold the sensors data: DHT11, water level, and soil moisture respectively. And here's the code. I am using three different container URLs to redirect the sensor data to the right container inside the OM2M. You can see that using here. I'm using custom functions to make the code easier and simpler to read. Well, anyway, as soon as I plug this in, connecting to local access point, and it started reading values and started pushing data to OM2M. The 201 response code confirms that. If you go back to OM2M architecture, we can see content instances change. As you can see, DHT11, and now it changed. If you inspect a particular content instance, we can see the content in the form of array. That makes it easier to read in the other side. So it reads 34.50 as temperature and 46 as humidity level. In the same way, the water level and soil moisture has content instances. And now the concept of OM2M subscriptions comes into place. The way I'm sending data from ESP32 to ESP8266 is that I'm making a subscribe instance in each of the container, by which as soon as a content instance is created, the ESP8266 gets notified and it prints out the whole thing. Here it is. As you can see, the board just changed. Earlier it was the ESP32, now it's a Node MCU. And yeah, here's a subscriber instance I created on the listener port 8000, I guess. Yes, 8000. So yeah, let me connect the ESP32 as well, so that as soon as a sensor reads the value and pushes to OM2M, we get notified in the ESP8266. And the reason I'm not keeping any actuators, because I don't have access to the actuators, so we'll have to do with the serial monitor output for now. Okay, I just cleared the serial monitor. Now as soon as a content instance is created, will be notified in the serial output. Alright, the ESP listener just started. ESP setup is complete, and now we should see a web request. Yes. Alright, here's the whole response in action. So now that we have the data from ESP32 in the ESP8266, we can use that to trigger the actuators we were talking about before. Well, this is the short demonstration I wanted to show you guys. Thank you.